Yo, this ain't a bad angle right here. I got my tank over there, got my predator set up right here, and it sounds a lot better in this room compared to recording in the garage. So I think I'm gonna start doing that. Should probably mute my phone. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about feeding superworms to my Bashirs / Polypterus, my wolf, and my gopher catfish.
Remember those days, those L's, I couldn't sleep right now. I get paid, vacay, I'm staying B-side. Breaking the blues over steak, I gotta eat right. You could be my peace sign.
Back when I had my arowanas and my false gars and those striped pike kerrisons and stuff, I used to love feeding them live crickets. And the reason why I like feeding them live crickets is because, you know, you buy these predator fish, you want to see them like eat live things and do predator stuff. But for me, I don't want to feed them live fish, so I resort to feeding them live insects. And one of the best ones, in my opinion, was live crickets. But as you know, since crickets float, it's kind of hard for the Bashirs to kind of hunt these things down because they're always at the bottom. And also, it'd be kind of impossible to feed my wolf crickets too, because the crickets will pretty much just hide in the floating plants and the wolf will never be able to get it. And that's the reason why we went ahead and moved forward with superworms. So my best understanding of superworms is it's just a bigger version of a mealworm. I think one of the main disadvantages when it comes to superworms compared to mealworms is with it being bigger, this sometimes can cause like blockages and stuff. Sometimes your fish aren't able to digest the exoskeleton or the head. So in some cases, people just cut off the head. But as for the exoskeleton, I read online that the outer shell of the insect can cause blockages and stuff. So feeding too much of the superworms is not all that great. It's kind of like humans eating chips. If you eat too many chips, it's bad for you, but every once in a while, it's not that bad. Another disadvantage of superworms compared to mealworms being that it is a bigger worm. If your fish decides to swallow this whole and stuff and it's live, some people will say that it can damage your fish from the inside out. In my case, I don't want to risk any of my fish, so I went ahead and, like I said, cut off the head. This way it gets rid of one of the parts that's kind of hard for the fish to digest, and it also reduces the risk or even completely eliminate the risk of the worm hurting the fish from the inside out. I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. No matter what, the fish are going to eat it anyway, so I'd rather just cut the head off. Alright, so the fish that I tried to feed these worms to was my pack of Bashirs, my wolf, and the gopher cat. I think the gopher catfish in the wild, it's a piscivore, so it eats live fish. Right off the bat, gopher catfish, just rule it out. It didn't even try. The next fish was super excited. This is my wolf. This one right here, it'll eat anything. It eats pellets, krill, fish meat, shrimp. And with mealworms though, I feel like it really liked it, especially when I was pulling it out of the box. Maybe its past owner or the past local fish store that had it fed it mealworms before, because it looked really excited when I was pulling the mealworms out of the container. Even when I had it in the tongs, it was just chasing the glass. Super excited, like a little puppy. So just as I thought, once I threw in the superworm, it ate it automatically. It kind of caught it in its mouth and stayed in the corner and did not leave. I don't know how many superworms this guy can eat, but I think it ate about like 4 or 5 pieces that night. And then I went ahead and came back the next day because I'll go ahead and explain later. The Bashirs needed a second day, but I came back the next day and the wolf ate even more. So I know if I feed this wolf too many superworms, it might get hooked and then it might not want to eat like pellets or any other type of like fish food. So I'm probably going to limit the wolf fish on these superworms and maybe try something else. But wolffish loved it. So on to my next group of fish, which is the Bashirs. Whenever I add new types of food or something that's kind of unique, that's kind of out of their, I guess, feeding cycle, they get scared. So during my last video when I was feeding the squids, I had the same results. The first day, they just didn't like it. They were either scared of it or whatever, what have you, but they totally didn't even go for it. And that's what happened with the superworms the first night. I threw in about 4 to 5 superworms and they didn't even touch it. I even threw one in where I barely cut the snipper, so it was still kind of like twitching and moving and stuff. And after that whole spiel in the first night, I had about 3 or 4 superworms in the tank, and then went ahead and went in my parents' house, got a blueberry and some fish food, put it into the superworm container, and then left for the night. Me leaving in those superworms though, it gave the Bashirs a chance to try it out later when I'm gone. That's exactly what happened. The next morning I checked, none of the superworms were there, and I know exactly which one ate it. So you would think that the big Enleys ate all the superworms, but I checked my cameras and it was the little CB laps. They're the ones that ate all of the leftover superworms after I left. And the results showed, because the next day they were the ones that were first in line to eat the superworms when I threw fresh ones in. And then with the laps eating it the next day, it caused the Enleys to want to eat it, and then pretty much it was a successful feed. But enjoy this nice little clip of all my fish eating these superworms. I try to keep this video as straightforward as possible when it comes to my experience feeding superworms to my fish. I personally enjoy it because it's perfect for my polypterus, perfect for my wolf and stuff. It might not be perfect for my gulper cat, but I mean, my gulper cat is very picky. One of the things that I also did was I put a blueberry inside of the container so the worms can have something to hydrate off of and eat and stuff. And from what I understand, insects don't really drink from like little bowls and stuff. They get their hydration from like certain types of food, maybe cut up pieces of vegetables or like pieces of fruit and stuff. So I think that's a good way to keep your worms hydrated while you have them in the little container. You can also give them fish food. I gave them a piece of massivore pellet the first day I got them, and then I also sprinkled up a little bit of Vibra Bites that I use for that tank over there. It's a way you can gut load the worms before feeding it to your fish. That way your fish that's eating the worms will get all the nutrition that's been absorbed through the food to the worm to the fish. I enjoy the fact that the superworms is a sinking type of insect food for my fish. That way it gives my bottom feeders a chance to try new foods, especially when it comes to live food. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any suggestions for live insect feedings and stuff for my polypterus, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and peace guys.